Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to the Healing Empath. I am a healing empath. In today's video, we're going to talk about jealousy versus envy. I wanted to talk about this for a while now, and I'm so happy that we're at this point where I can talk about this. And this is why some people want to see you fail. So this is a message for all my unhealed and unhealthy empaths out there. But this is for anyone that wants to come in and listen to it. Actually, if you can get one thing from it, that's all that matters. And if the stuff doesn't apply to you, then let it fly. Okay. So before we get into the topic today, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my video. And turn on your notifications as well so you can receive them every time I upload a video once a week. Alrighty, so if you're an empath, right, like myself, you've probably said to yourself at least one time in your life, why would somebody try to hurt me when I've done nothing but be kind to them or try to love on them, right? So we're going to talk about the jealousy versus envy theory, because confusing these two keeps an empath vulnerable, okay? And some people admire you as an empath, but then you have some people that want what you have. And then some people can't stand that you have anything at all, right? So understanding the difference between jealousy and envy is not about, don't take this as everybody around you can potentially be envious or jealous of you, but it's just really about becoming aware about the difference, okay? And clearly, I think I mentioned this in another video. If you're an empath, most likely you don't believe anybody would be jealous of you. It's hard for us to believe, well, an unhealthy one, at least, an unhealthy, unhealed one. It's hard for us empaths to think that somebody's out there jealous of us because we don't operate on that type of energy. We don't have that. Now, don't get me wrong. Envious energy can happen with anyone, and it's very natural to have a little envious within you. But when you're healed or working on yourself, that usually subsides because you usually can catch it right away. But yeah, we'll get into it. I don't want to ramble on. Okay. So the definition, we're going to start with the definition of jealousy, right? It's simple and clear. So if you want to know the definition, because we throw out, oh, she's jealous and he's jealous, or he's jealous and she's jealous. We don't, and sometimes it might not even be jealousy, right? So jealousy means that the person says in their mind, I don't want you to have what you have, right? And jealousy is rooted in insecurity, right? Jealousy is rooted in comparison, entitlement, resentment. And before I keep going, if you want to get a notepad and to write a few things down, I suggest you do so. Write a couple of these notes down because they're important. So again, jealousy is rooted in insecurity, comparison, entitlement, resentment, and a jealous person doesn't just want more for themselves, right? They actually want less for you. So they may already have what they want. So a jealous person can be financially prosperous. They can have the car they want. They can have anything that they want, or they have what they want, right? They may be doing fine in life. Life has not been bad for a jealous, envious person. A jealous person, okay? But because your existence triggers something unresolved in them, whatever they didn't heal from, jealous often leads to sabotage, like withholding opportunities, lying or manipulation, smear campaigns, secret competition, or watching you closely while pretending to support you. So some people can be, and I think that because we are in this era of social media and in this wide scope of lurking and accounts and people secret accounts, it's very easy for someone to be in secret competition with you. They don't even have to follow you. They can have a fake account and be following you from a fake account and pretending to be a supporter or just watching everything that you do, right? Okay? All right, so now let's get into envy. So envy says, this is what envy says: I wish I had what you have. Envy is more about the desire. It's not destruction, okay? Envy is not out to destruct you. An envious person could admire you. They feel temporarily insecure around you, or they can compare themselves internally. Like they can want a similar success as you, or beauty. They can want love or confidence, okay? The only time envy becomes dangerous, right, to one person is only when it turns into jealousy. So that is the root. So an envious person can contain themselves, but not necessarily. If they are unhinged, it can turn into jealousy. So being envious is you're not out you're not out the flag yet, or how do they say it? You're not out I forgot that saying. Sometimes when you think of something, you forget. But you're not out the win yet. What is that? You're not out I forgot how you say it. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Right? So envious people can turn into jealousy. But because somebody may be envious doesn't mean that they want to harm you. It's usually more, it's a little more innocent than what jealousy would be. All right, so let's get back to the jealous mindset. So when you have jealous people, right, a jealous individual is not going to see you as a person. They're not going to see you as a person. They're going to see you as a mirror, okay? And your growth reflects their stagnation or their unhealed wounds or their lack of self-worth, okay? So a jealous mindset is like, oh, why them and not me? Or they don't deserve that. Or I can do better than them. Or I hope they fail. Okay? And this is important for us empaths to hear because jealous people are more triggered. And listen to this. Jealous people are more triggered or mostly triggered by kind, authentic, and naturally gifted souls. Okay? So you didn't need to manipulate anyone so you can shine. You didn't need to steal anyone's energy or try to manipulate their energy, or, there's a lot of things that go on in the spiritual realm and people try to take your destiny, right? By trying to, and God has your destiny. God is the God that created the firmament, the God that created the dirt, the air, that creator, mother and father. That's how I believe in. That is who created your destiny. That family, that love of the divine is who created your destiny, not a person, not a person. Okay. So a jealous person, like I said, they're going to be triggered because you didn't manipulate to shine. You didn't step on people to get to where you have to go. You didn't do anything immoral, right? You didn't sell your integrity. Okay. So that makes an insecure person extremely uncomfortable. Okay, so an example in a family dynamic, right? A family dynamic where you have jealousy. Family jealousy will show up sometimes as minimizing your success. So they may say, oh, are you still working on your little music career? Or that ain't gonna go nowhere. Everybody I know that does that is waitressing now. So that's that energy. You get what I'm saying? And these are the things, these are real examples that I'm expressing right now of real things that were said, okay? And people say them. And they have this thing in their heart. I just can't fathom it, okay? Or they could change the subject when you share like really good news. So your news is good and they change the subject, right? They criticize your dreams, hoping that you fail so they can feel superior over you again. So, because they know technically, right? Or maybe they don't know, because if it could be a family member, they don't know an old version of you. They only know the little you. So they see you growing, they see a light in you, and they try to disrupt that before you can understand your confidence, or you can embody that confidence, right? Because they don't like who you are becoming from the outside, because deep inside they know you're going to become something good, right? Something great. And that's why it's very important to monitor your children if you have small children, and the people that are around. You know, you don't bring your children around. I don't care if it's your mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, married, related, whatever. You don't bring people around that speak negative or lack into your children. So I remember, before I get into the rest of the topic, I remember when I was a little girl, how a friend of my mother's fiance family, they were a couple, and they were a friend of my step-grandmother's, right? Step-grandmother, I'm sorry. So they asked me, I had to be like 6, 7, maybe even 8. They asked me, what did I want to be when I get older? And I think I know exactly what I said. I said I want to be a tap dancer, because I loved to dance as a kid. And I wanted to be a tap dancer. And they literally said, you are too heavy to be a tap dancer. And I was always like a little thick little girl, you know. I wasn't fat. I was a little thick. I had, like, you could see I was going to have a shape. And my mother had to tell them, like, you don't say that to a child. You know, before she even can get to a certain space, you don't say that. But again, my mother said terrible things to me as a child, so it doesn't really count now that I'm an adult. But she did say something to these people, so I felt good at the moment. What really would have been good is if she would have said that to them and then put me in tap dance class, because that's what you show your kids. I believe in you, baby. You could do anything that you want. You know, you don't just say it. But anyway, okay, so let's get back on topic. So changing the subject when you share good news, criticizing your dreams, and hoping you fail so they can feel superior again, right? Again, they know the version of you that they see, and they don't like what they see is coming out of you, okay? So family jealousy can be this and even more. It can even be more things. I know I'm going to do another video down the line about this topic, because it's too broad to just talk about one part. Okay, so now moving along. When you get into the friendship part, the friendship jealousy, right? A jealous friend may copy you, right? But they never credit you. They never credit you and say, Judy over here, she showed me how to do that. They'll just mask it and plagiarize your work as theirs, or they won't mention anything at all. Okay? They'll stop supporting you once you level up. So once you get to a certain level, they'll stop supporting. Or once your life has changed for the better, they'll stop coming around. When you have a lot of drama, see, a lot of people have that saying confused, and that's why you have to be in your spiritual mind as well. A lot of people think that, oh, well, they're my friend or they're my family because they always was there on all my bad times. That's not always true, sweetheart, because there's some people that are only going to be there for your bad times. And when you get them good times, they're going to stop supporting you as soon as you level up and start being happy. All right. The next one is competing instead of celebrating. So we have competition. Okay. Instead of celebrating, you want to have competition. I remember someone sent me a message and asked me what did she ask me? Did she say, did you get married? And I said, yes. And she never even said congratulations. And then another time she said, are you pregnant? And I said, yes. She never even said congratulations. Very odd. Very odd energy, right? Okay, so again, friendship jealousy, they withhold, they gatekeep information. Okay, so like an example would be like they already bought a pair of shoes, right? And they know where those shoes are from because they just bought them. But you ask like, oh, I like those shoes or something. But they won't tell you because they don't want you looking as good as them That's jealousy, right? And this is close friends, right? This is friends or anyone. So if you ask me, where did I get a pair of shoes from? I'm going to tell you, especially if you're my close friend. Why wouldn't I tell you that, right? I wouldn't care if you got the same pair of shoes, but, some people just don't want to see that glow. They don't want to see it. I've had that for a job. I'll never forget, I saw an ad in the paper a long time ago, and I mentioned to a friend, I'm going to go apply. I had to be in my early 20s to the airport for a job. And she looked at me and literally said, they're not going to hire you. And I said, what? They're not going to hire me? It was just like, whoa, that was a whoa. That's not speaking life into someone, right? And she looked at me with a face and said, they're not going to hire me. And that just, I don't even know why I remained her friend after that, because these people prove themselves over time. And then I'm not friends with her any longer, clearly, but saying things like that, doing those type of things, that's just not somebody that you want in your energy, right? Okay, so moving forward, right? Now we're going to step into the ex-lover territory, right? Ex-lover jealousy, ex-lover, even your current lover. God forbid anybody has a current lover that's jealous of them. That is one of the worst things to endure. So my heart goes out to you, but I think it's time to either get counseling or move on. Okay, so ex-lover jealousy, and this one hits an empath hard. They didn't appreciate you, right? They didn't like you. They didn't treat you right. They didn't even want you, okay? They may even have left you or discarded you, okay? They left you for someone else, right? Then suddenly, out of nowhere, they start stalking you. They start stalking your home. They start coming around to your work. They might go on social media and they might stalk you there. Okay. They reappear when you're actually glowing, you're happy, you're with someone that's actually doing and being intentional about them. Now here these exes want to come back to you, right? Okay. Because they want to interrupt your peace, right? They want to prove to you that you can't succeed without them. And it's not because they love you, because they don't love you, right? But it's because your growth exposes their failure within that relationship, right? So your growth and you're growing, and they looked at you in a light that wasn't pleasing. You probably don't even know why they're looking at you like that, because you're confused. Like, what happened? I thought we were cool. Like, why are you being this way towards me? Okay, you're expressing that you don't want to deal with me. Okay, maybe it was a little toxic, right? And then you guys split, and then now you move on, and now here they come. Months later, sometimes a year later, sometimes girl or fellow, they could be on you for years, even decades, coming back into your energy as if you guys like have some unfinished business or something. You get what I'm saying? So that is not love, okay? So if an ex-lover, and there's more details with this as well, they can also do all kind of things, right? But if an ex-lover is doing that, that's jealousy. That's narcissism. That is, again, that's jealousy. It's not envious jealousy, because they don't want to see you happy. And if you end up back with an ex-lover, they're 9 times out of 10 trying to come back to humble you, trying to come back to infect you, trying to come back to cause problems in your life. It's never because they loved you or missed you. Now, I will give an exception before I move on to what current relationship jealousy looks like. If you are with a partner and they happen to be an ex, and the reason you broke up, it all matters about the reason you broke up. If you broke up because he went to the army and y'all just split because of that, there was no way he can maintain a relationship like that, or he went away to college and you went away to another place to college, or he went abroad and just, you guys just amicably split and you guys are friends, or maybe you lost touch or whatever, and you want to get back together. That's an ex relationship. Cool. But if he's an ex-lover situationship, somebody that treated you poorly, didn't appreciate you during the relationship, those are the ones you never want to go back to, ever, because they have never gotten an epiphany. They have never grown. They have never evolved to the next level of their healing so they can understand what true love is, right? Okay, so moving along, current relationship jealousy. So if your partner feels threatened by your confidence because you're confident in life, you're confident, you're going after your goals. They discourage you in your goals, or they compete instead of supporting. They compete and compare, right? Or they try to sabotage some of your opportunities. That's not love. That's insecurity. That is jealousy. I just happened to see a clip. What was it? A little clip of, what was that show? Oh man, it came on a long time ago. It had like 30 seasons. I don't know. It was like it was about people in the Grey Anatomy. I think it is. I really didn't get into that show much, but I saw a clip, and one of the black nurses on there, she was supposed to get like a promotion, and she said that her husband threatened to leave her if she took that promotion. So she didn't take it at first, and then later on the next clip came over, and it showed her taking the job and saying that she's just gonna have to come to terms with it. Because who does that? Why would you break up in your relationship because your wife wanted to she wanted to accept the promotion. She wanted to level up in life. Why are you mad? Right? Why are you mad as a husband that your wife wants to level up? It's for the both of you, right? So that's what you call insecurity, but remember, that leads into jealousy. It can turn into jealousy. Okay? All right, so the next part is hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just looking through my notes. Okay, the next part is envy examples. So envious examples looks like, I wish I had your body. I wish I had your job. I wish I had your confidence. So say a girl admires your shoes and asks where you got them from, right? And someone asks for advice instead of tearing you down, right? Or someone feels more like inspired, not threatened. Envy may feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't sabotage, right? So, and even though these examples sound a little like it doesn't make sense, right? Because if a girl admires your shoes and says, wow, those are really cool shoes, I love them, I wish I had them, right? It comes off as envious, but remember, envy is not malicious, right? And she's not saying, she might be saying like, okay, I might say, oh, you have wonderful shoes. Where'd you get them from? Those are nice. But if I'm like staring at your shoes and then looking at your shoes and watching you walk away in those shoes and just staring at your shoes, and I admire your shoes and I'm like, where'd you get them from? And then you tell me, and then I look at the price and maybe I can't get the shoes, right? Now I'm just like looking at your shoes, but it's all innocent. It's not necessarily malicious. Okay. But jealous might be where I might take a razor and slice up your heel while you're not looking or something like that, right? So someone also could be inspired, right? But not threatened. So that has that little envy energy in it, but it's not malicious, okay? So when it comes to envious, when it turns into jealousy, envy becomes jealousy when someone feels entitled to your life. They feel entitled. They insert themselves into your energy, like they're entitled to tell you or watch your moves or to try to orchestrate your moves from the back end, right? They refuse to work on themselves. They don't think anything's wrong with them. They're so focused on looking back or looking at someone else. They never want to internally look at themselves. They will never take accountability, right? Or they'll blame others for their own stagnation. So if someone works at a company and throws out your job application, that's not envy, that's jealousy mixed with power and insecurity, right? That means that they didn't want you to have the job. They didn't want you to have a chance. Now, this example was something I put in my notes because it happened to me. When I was 18 years old, I was going to the mall and I was looking for jobs all throughout the mall. And I happened to stumble across a shoe store. I went across the shoe store And I went in there and I seen a familiar face. Now, me and her weren't friends. She was a little bit older than me. She happened to be friends with some of my neighbors. And I've always had a pleasant connection with her. I've never had an issue with her. I was a little bit younger than her. We didn't hang out, but she always would say hi to me. I always would say hello to her. Never had a problem with her. Okay, so I go in there and I'm so happy to see her, and I'm like, hey, are they hiring here? And she's like, yes, they are hiring. I said, really? I was like, can I get an application? She was like, yes, no problem, I'll get it for you. I'm thinking I got this probably job in the back because she knows me. So I'm like, oh, she'll probably give a good word for me. So she was telling me about the job or whatever, and I was sitting there talking to her. I filled out my application and I left the store. And she was like, we're hiring, so they're probably going to call you in a few days. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I left the store. And maybe that I'm going to give a timeline of maybe that could have been a Wednesday. When I got to like Friday, no, I think it was Saturday. When I got to Saturday, there was another person that lived in my community that worked at the same store. And she came to me, and she was also a little bit older, had to be the same age as the other girl. She came over to me and said, listen, did you fill out an application at that shoe store a few days ago? And I said, yes. And she said, I work there. I said, really? Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's great. You know, is he going to call me? Because I was wondering what happened. He didn't call me yet. And she was like, no. When I got to work, I saw your application in the garbage pail. I said, what? She said, yeah, I saw your application in a garbage pail, and it was me and such there. Did you see her when you came into the job to fill out the application? I said, yeah, she was talking to me nicely and everything. I just filled out the application, and she took it, and then I left. And she said the guy's going to call me in a few days or whatever. And she said, no, she crumbled up your application, threw it in the garbage. And she said that she stuck up for me, and she cursed the girl out. So she said she threw out the application, like, in the garbage. So I was like, oh my God. So the next time I seen her, it was like that girl that told me about it came again to confront her in front of me. And then it was like and then they were getting into some altercation. And then I went and I kind of cursed her out a little bit. And then I left. But that was just like the first experience I've had with like real sabotage from somebody that I liked. I didn't have any problem with her. That's why it's just, jealousy is highly dangerous, guys. It is one of the worst things to ever experience. I would never want anybody to be jealous of me. I think that's why empaths are very, I'm very intuitive as well. Outside of just being an empath, I have a very big intuitive abilities, and I'm very sensitive, and I have feeling. So for me, like somebody jealous of me, and I'm not even in the space yet that, what do you see in me that you're being so jealous of? But to try to sabotage. Now she has a job. She works at the job. I wasn't coming in to take the job. She already was working there. She did not want me to get hired. And this is a teenager. Me going to fill out applications in that place was so discouraging after that, because I started feeling like, is everybody going to do that? And they don't even know me. If somebody knows me and could do that, what could somebody do if they don't know me? And I'm just trying to make a few dollars for me personally, and be young and do a good job. Right? So, yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. And she didn't want me to get the job. She didn't want me to have a chance. And I've experienced a lot of this throughout my life. And with family, well, not necessarily, well, maybe with my mother, I would have to say, and just other people, stepfather, just negativity. Nobody's speaking real life into you and supporting you. Is a big sign, okay? And why, as an empath or unhealthy empath, are we targeted? An unhealed empath will be targeted because we assume that everyone has good intentions. Remember, I walked in that store thinking, I'll probably get a job. She likes me. I'm cool with her. And I was the type of young girl that I never was a troublemaker or starting trouble with anybody. I'm always much of a very funny, very supportive, very loving, very loyal to my friends and family and things of that nature. So we assume everyone has good intentions. We overshare our plans. We overshare because we don't think people are out there trying to sabotage and stop us from stuff. we ignore the red flags. We ignore all those red flags, and we end up overgiving. And we believe love heals, right? We believe love will heal jealousy. Okay, but trust me, it will not. After some years of learning, love will not heal jealousy. And honestly, what kindness does, because, kindness in love, kindness is through love, it doesn't require you to tolerate this type of behavior or this type of sabotage with people. It's just, jealous people happen to see that, and matter of fact, they don't see, they think that being empathic is a weakness. They think being kind or sweet is a weakness. They think like a shark, they think it's weak to have a kind heart. Until you end up placing boundaries, okay? Until you enforce boundaries on people, okay? Now, when it comes to that, like I always say, empaths are not as weak as people think, right? We have another side to us as well. And I'm going to get into that in other videos. I want to talk about the different type of empaths, like dark empath and those things, and narcissism and everything. I'm actually reading a book called Empaths vs. Narcissism. And I'm taking my time reading it, but it's insightful. Some of the things I didn't agree with, and some of it I did. Okay, so now, jealousy, energy, and spiritual sabotage. Let's get to here, okay? This is highly, highly important. If you don't take nothing, take this. Okay, some people, they don't just sabotage you emotionally or physically. They will attempt to sabotage you energetically. And this can show up as constant negative intention. So somebody's constantly having a negative intention towards you. They're obsessively watching you and having this fixation towards you for some odd reason, right? They're speaking doubt over your life. So they can do this they could be using candles. They can be saying prayers. They could be chanting. They could just say projection. They don't even have to do any of the stuff I said. They could just say like, oh, she ain't gonna do right. She ain't gonna do good. Yeah, she's insecure. She ain't gonna. They speak doubt. They want you to feel the way they feel, right? They can also, like I said, in prayer, manipulation, or for some people do spell work. They do spell work or rituals. And what they want to do is to interfere with you, to interfere with your destiny. And whether you see this as spiritual or psychological, intention carries energy. So it doesn't matter if someone is going to somebody that practices magic and they ask them to do a spell on someone, or if someone's doing a spell at home, or if someone is just talking crap about you and cursing you out, talking shit. And they're talking shit behind your back and saying you ain't gonna do no good. That's also a spell. Everything that we say is spells. That's why working on, and I'm gonna make a video down the line too for us as empaths, how we have to work on affirming to ourselves. And I'm still in my journey, guys. I'm still healing. So this is not coming from a place of perfection or I know it all. This is coming from experience and me doing my research. Okay, and this is always coming from love. All right, so so back to the energy, when it comes to energy, say you're in a house with your family and your mother or your father is constantly speaking negative over you, right? And you're trying to do things, but it's like you can't because you feel exhausted. So you may feel these energy attacks to exhausted or brain fog, right? Delays or blocks after sharing your plans, with someone that you trust. Now all of a sudden everything is delayed or blocked, or feeling off after having an interaction with certain individuals, right? Also self-doubt that doesn't feel like yours. So this doubt is not yours. This doesn't mean someone has power over you, right? It doesn't mean they have power. It just means that you're open and you're sensitive and you're not weak. So you're open, you're sensitive, and you're not weak. And I'm saying it in that order and that speed so you can understand. You're open, sensitive, but you're not weak. So now, okay, when it comes to these energy and how to protect your energies, the real practical ways you can do so is, what's the first thing, guys? Not oversharing. So stop oversharing. Not everyone needs to understand or know what's going on in your life with your plans, your healing journey, your next move. Silence is your protection. You're not being secretive. You're not being weird. You're not acting funny, because people love to say those things when you pull your energy back. Okay? And daily energy cleansing, keeping your spiritual guard up, which is prayer, doing some meditations, even some salt baths, going to the ocean, spending 20 minutes in the ocean if you live in a hot area, or if it's winter, use your tub or your shower. Cleanse yourself energetically. Use the Epsom salt. Use the salt, right? Some people also like to do like saging and all those things. I personally like to do those things. I like incense. If that's not for you, it's okay. Okay? It's all about your intention. Remember, it's all about what you say. God created these things to use as spices, herbs, and also for healing purposes. Okay? So remember, also you can affirm and say, any energy that is not mine is released, and any intention sent toward me that is not loving is neutralized, right? So you're not saying it in anger or fear. You're just saying it you're just affirming yourself, right? You're affirming your own power. Sorry guys, I'm drinking some water. The next thing that you can do is cut these energetic cords, right? So it could be simple cord cutting. I release any energetic attachments that no longer serve my highest good. You don't even need to know who. Your energy knows who, okay? The next one is stop feeding the obsession. It's constantly wondering, what are they doing? Are they still attacking me? Are they still saying this about me? Are they trying to harm me? That keeps the energy alive. That keeps everything alive. Awareness also protects you. So being aware, don't try to not be aware. Be aware of what's going on. But obsession can drain you, okay? Obsession can drain your energy. And then when it comes to physical boundaries, they're also great for your own personal protection, is blocking people. That's one of the things. Block people on your cell phone. Block them on your social media account. But again, somebody could block. You could block somebody and they could be right back with a fake page. So it depends on how deep their obsession is for you. Limit their access, right? Limit your energy and limit being around them. Walk away without closure. You don't need closure. Ask the Most High for closure, okay? And stop explaining yourself. Stop over-explaining yourself. Energy protection fails when physical boundaries are weak. So the more I give into this negative energy or this past person that's harassing me energetically, the more I keep the cord alive, right? And also, self-worth is your strongest shield. So jealousy feeds on self-doubt. So the more grounded you are in your worth, your intuition, and your purpose, the less anything external can touch you. So that is the last part of my notes. So remember to stay grounded. Remember to be mindful of the people that you're around. I used to go a very long time thinking nobody would be jealous of me because this, that, and the third. And it is not true, honey. It is not true. I'm telling you that from experience. Jealousy lives in people's hearts because they have not chose to heal. It doesn't make any sense that I don't want you to have a good opportunity and I'm already set in life good. What's wrong with me that I don't want to see you shine? Why am I so fixated on your growth when I should be supporting you? If you're my family, even strangers support one another. Why do you think they always say strangers support you more than friends or family? Because it's true. Because strangers, number one, they're not really in close proximity of you. They don't have anything to compete with you on. So they don't know you personally, right? Because I don't like when people think that strangers are just more supportive. Strangers can be more supportive, but sometimes jealous people that are jealous of other people that are close to them, they could be supporters of strangers because they don't feel any, like, they don't have you're not in close proximity. So they only see you online. They only see you being an influencer. They only see you, speaking. So they're going to support you. They're going to support you. And they want to come off as very supportive. But when it comes to a close family member or friend is where you really need to be mindful. Are they supportive of their own family and friends? Or do we just support, what we got? Do we support the strangers over the friends? That's what I meant to say. So yeah, this video went over, but it's okay. It was a well-needed topic, and I tried to like speed it up because I knew it was going to be long. But I am going to come back with other topics on jealousy versus envy. But I hope you guys really got the message down and understand the difference. And, you know, it's not, we're so quick to say, oh, somebody's jealous. Jealous is the worst thing. Nobody wants to be green-eyed jealous. That is the worst thing to have in your heart brewing. That is a sad way to live, to where you are absolutely trying to maliciously sabotage someone because you don't want to see them thrive. You don't want to have a good heart and know that everybody can thrive, and that this is an abundant earth that we live in, and everybody is sweet. Everybody is special. Everybody has a gift. And even if you don't know your gift yet, even if you don't feel like you're special, you are, because you're here. You're in earth school. You're learning. You're growing. But to try to sabotage and, you know, and be jealous of someone is just, it's just like, how do you heal that? You know, how do you heal the jealous person? I think that's where my empath side comes in. Or how do you heal this person? How does this person heal? Well, we can't for sure do it. So remember, unhealed empaths, we cannot heal a jealous person. We cannot heal someone with lack of integrity or moral character. We can't do it, sweetheart. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Put up your boundaries, put up your swords, and put up your defense against anybody in your life like this. Immediately remove them. Immediately, especially if you know that they talk down to kids and those things. Especially if they are a friend or someone that was a lover to you, or and your current partner. They gotta go. Either they gotta get healing or therapy, or they gotta go. If it's not too late, if they didn't try to sabotage everything, before it's too late. But it is that time, my loves, and I just want to say thank you for joining in. I hope this message touched someone today, even if it's one person. I hope that you got something from it. If you want to add to the video, drop a comment below. I am open to it. And other than that, I will see you on the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you have tuned into this video. Ciao.